Welcome to the training video on the Purolator Invoice Viewer. This tool is available online at ftp2.purolator.com. This tutorial will assume that the browser being used is Microsoft Internet Explorer, although other web browsers should work in a very similar way. Additionally, this tutorial will assume that you are running Windows XP, although the steps are very similar if you are running Windows Vista or Windows 7. Once you have accessed Purolator's FTP server by entering your assigned username and password, click the EDI Solutions folder. Then click the Electronic Invoice Remittance Advice folder. And finally, click the CSV Invoice Viewer Tool folder. The full path is EDI Solutions, Electronic Invoice and Remittance Advice, CSV Invoice Viewer Tool. Download both included files to your local computer. To download the Purolator Invoice Viewer, click on Invoice Viewer 5.0 exe file. This is the most current version, but versions may change. Two pop-up windows may appear. The first window that might appear is the File Download security warning. The pop-up window will ask if you want to run or save this file. Click Run, and the installation of the Purolator Invoice Viewer tool will begin. You can now close the File Download Security Warning pop-up window. After clicking Run, the Purolator Invoice Viewer will begin to download, and a second pop-up window may appear, which will provide an estimate of the time remaining to complete the download of the file. An additional Internet Explorer security warning may appear stating, "The publisher could not be verified. Are you sure you want to run this software?" Click Run to continue the installation process of the EDI Invoice Viewer tool. Once the download is complete, a WinZip self-extractor pop-up window will appear that says Purolator Invoice Viewer. Click OK to begin the installation process using the Invoice Viewer Setup Wizard. After reading the warning message, click Next to continue. Take a moment to read the Purolator Invoice Viewer Software License Agreement. To continue the installation, you must agree to the terms in the license agreement. Select I agree to continue and click Next. Select the folder in which you would like to install the Purolator Invoice Viewer. Click on the Browse button to select a different installation path for the application. If you need to view the disk space available, you can click on Disk Costs. Clicking on Disk Cost will display all drives that have space available to install the application in a separate window called Invoice Viewer Disk Space. Depending on your operating system and security settings, you may also be prompted to select who will be allowed to access the Purolator Invoice Viewer. Selecting the option of Everyone allows all users that have a profile on that particular computer to access the Invoice Viewer. Selecting the Just Me option will allow access to the Invoice Viewer for a single user profile only. Once you have chosen the folder location and access preferences, click Next. This will take you to the next window to confirm the installation. Click Next to start the installation. Upon completion of the installation, a window will pop up confirming the Invoice Viewer has been successfully installed. Click Close to exit. To open the Purolator Invoice Viewer, click on the Windows Start menu located on the lower left corner of your screen. Go to Programs, select Purolator Applications from the drop-down menu and select Invoice Viewer. To add the Invoice Viewer icon onto your desktop, you can create a shortcut. To create the shortcut, right-click on Invoice Viewer, select Send To, and click on Desktop Create Shortcut. The Purolator Invoice Viewer icon will appear on your desktop. The Purolator Invoice Viewer is easy to use. There are common tools and help menu options. For more convenience, you can change the language from English to French by clicking on Tools. The following steps indicate how to select columns for a CSV invoice file. To begin processing an electronic data interchange EDI invoice file, click Browse. Browse for the path to where the CSV invoice file has been saved. Select the CSV invoice file that you want to work with and then click Open. On the left side of the screen are the columns available headings that are in the CSV invoice file. Columns can be selected and filtered. By clicking on or highlighting the column, the full description of the selected column will be displayed at the bottom of the screen, which is available in both English and French. On the right side of the screen, you will find the heading Columns Selected, where the selected column headings will appear as each one is selected. There are many ways to choose the columns that will be provided in the output file. You can select all columns by clicking on Select All Fields. To select a column, click once on the desired column and then click on the Add Field button. The column will now appear on the right side of the screen under Columns Selected. To select more than one column at a time, click on the desired column. At the same time, hold down the Control key on the keyboard. The desired columns will then be highlighted. Once the selection of the columns have been highlighted, click on the Add Field button. The highlighted columns will appear in the Column Selected side. The following steps indicate how to remove selected columns. To remove a column heading from the Column Selected side, click on the unwanted column, and then click on the Remove Field button. The column will appear back under Columns Available. To remove more than one column, click on the columns you wish to remove while holding down the Control key. The columns will then be highlighted. Simply click on the Remove Field button. The highlighted columns will then appear in the Columns Available side. The Select All Fields button will select all the columns from Columns Available and place them under Columns Selected. This button can be used to accelerate the selection process if most columns are required and only a few columns need to be excluded. The Remove All Fields button will select all the columns from Columns Selected and place them back into Columns Available. To move down a column, click on the column. It will appear highlighted, and then click the Move Field Down button. This will move the column down in order. Keep clicking until the column appears in the desired position. Once the user is happy with their selection and the order of their selection, these preferences can be saved as their default. That way, for future versions of EDI invoices, the same columns will be selected. The following steps indicate how to convert a CSV invoice file. To begin this process, click Create CSV. A window will pop up with the default location of where the original CSV invoice file was extracted. At this point, you can rename the newly created CSV invoice file and save the file to a different location. You will be prompted to provide a new file name and click Save. To view the new invoice file, go to the path where it has been saved and open it up within Microsoft Excel. The newly created CSV invoice file will appear with the original file name with the filtered CSV as the default unless it has been saved with a new file name. With the information open, we will need to select all of the fields and reset the column widths to match the content. The following steps indicate how to save column preferences on a CSV invoice file. If you wish to save the selection of columns that has been created in Columns Selected for all future CSV invoices from Purolator, click the Save Default button. This action will save the columns you have selected as the default settings for all future CSV invoice files. If you wish to add to or remove a column from your original default settings and wish to have the new selection as your new default settings, simply click on the Save Default button again, and your new column selections will be saved as your default. The Clear button will clear all fields, allowing you to work with a new file if required. If you wish to exit the Invoice Viewer application, click the Exit button. Click on Yes, and the application will close. Let's review some common questions that are brought up when working with the Purolator Invoice Viewer. The first is, what can I do when the tool is not recognizing the shipment PIN or tracking number as a number? Microsoft Excel may not recognize the tracking numbers or PINs, package identification numbers, as a number, so we first need to locate the field that contains all of the PINs. Select the entire column for the shipment PIN for this example and choose Format Cells. Set the cell format type to be a number, and then remove the decimal places by setting the decimal place to 0, and then click OK. Another common question is, how can I identify the shipment level information versus the piece level information? The rec type columns include an S to represent shipment level information and a P for package level information. To filter out the package level information, you can use the built-in filter function within Microsoft Excel. In this example, the user does not require package level information. From the drop-down, we can select P for package and select all of the rows of package level information for deletion. With all the package level rows removed, the filter can be removed. Another common question refers to how the reference values 1 through 5 are presented within the EDI invoice files. Consolidation after shipment creation will remove the unique reference values for individual packages, so all packages will contain the lead package reference value after consolidation. Thank you for taking the time to view the Purolator Invoice Viewer demo.